Tommy Greene, NBC Sports Philadelphia Phillies analyst. Saw him working the TV this past week as the Phillies beat the Braves, his former team.
I don't know what I'm more jealous about with T to Greene. I think, A, his golf game, we haven't played golf yet, but I know his golf game's very good. Or B, the fact that he's still basically, well, not the bullet, but he's still got all his hair.
Although that 93 video was on the other night. Tommy, I'd like to ask you, that 93 video was on the other night. How many people have asked you about that video in the last week?
I tell you what, guys, I've gotten a lot of buzz about that, saying that it was on. I didn't see it, so I was too busy. I had a basement that flooded, so I was taking care of business.
Well, yeah, that video was on. There was a rain delay, and I guess that's one of the videos they show in the rain delay. And how many people were talking about that the next day was crazy. And seeing you in that video and seeing all the guys in there, man, it stirred up a lot of great memories. And with the Phillies playing the Blue Jays this weekend, I don't know if those are good memories or bad memories, but certainly the way that season ended, not so good. But, man, what a special thing that was. And to see that video the other day really brought up so many great stories. And one of them I heard you talking about was, were you going to warm up in that game, in the World Series game, to come out of the bullpen?
I was warmed up. In the eighth inning, they called down and got me up because I think LA got in trouble. I think he had bases loaded, 2 outs or something like that. And but right before he walked that last guy or whatever to load the bases or whatever, they called down and said, get Greene up, and then right after as soon as I threw like my two pitches or so, they called back down and said, get Mitch up with him. He said, if Larry don't get this guy, Greene's got the next, so I had to get ready quick history says Larry got the last out in the 8th, so Mitch went in and closed the 9th. So
that's the way it went. And, of course, Tommy Greene was a big part of that team, which was a lot of fun. But that video was on the other day. Yes, a lot of people, Tommy, were watching it. A lot of people are watching this team, too. And you just saw them against your former team, one of your former teams, the Braves. And what is it about this team that you're liking as we get to Memorial Day weekend?
Well, I tell you what I am liking is the way we talked about this a little bit earlier in the year. There had to be a couple guys or some stepping up in the rotation because it comes down to pitching and defense. The pitching and defense to wins and stuff, as far as this will carry you down late. And some of the guys have stepped up, obviously. I'm talking in particular Pavetta. Pavetta stepped up making that – and Velasquez, as far as making that maturation process a little bit and having some success, and that carries over. If you got 3 of your 5 starting rotation, Dalen, and winning every time. I mean, not necessarily them winning, the team winning every time they go out. And they're keeping us in ball games. You're going to be pretty good. It's going to be a positive thing. And they've been on a good roll in the top, 6 to 8 teams in baseball and pitching, and the hitting's been a little bit on the indifferent side early in the year. They started making a climb a little bit, but I think that's the thing that's going to keep going over the course of the year. They'll get a little better. It's part of that maturation process with those young guys.
Tommy Greene with us. So, Tommy, Zach Eflin goes tonight, for example, and Zach Eflin, 1.56 ERA, new to the scene. Is this a thing where he's having the success because they haven't seen him yet, or what's he doing to be so successful in the early going here?
Well, I'll tell you what, he was up last year. He's got the stuff. He throws up there close to Pavetta, at times, and he's got the different type of movement, and it's just, and I think some of these guys have taken their lumps. Even Nola took a little bit of it at one time, and it's all about getting over that hurdle a little bit, getting that confidence. And coming back and knowing that you can pitch here. And I think his first taste around, he had a little bit of success. Then he started struggling and got beat up a little bit. They sent him down, and he got a chance to come back up this year. And right now he's taking advantage of the opportunity. It's hard to send somebody down that's pitching like that. If he keeps on doing what he's doing, that's a hard decision for guys that got the front office has got to make. And it's a good situation, to tell you the truth.
And is that something you're familiar with from, like, say, 93 too, where you guys the starters fed off each other? Everybody would be into what the other guy's start was, and how long did he go, and how many did he strike out? And, well, I got to go out and I got to top that. I mean, success breeds success.
Well, I mean, you're sort of right on that. I mean, coming from the Braves and some of the guys I pitched with, I didn't never pitch with Maddox and stuff, but Glavine and Smoltz and stuff. It's always a little bit of a competition. I mean, we're a team. We get to where we want to as a team, but we got to go out there and do our job individually to have success. And everybody wants to, I mean, especially in the minor leagues coming up, you're sort of bred this way. You want your team to win, so we win a championship or something like that, but I want to do just a little bit better than the other guy, you know, because I want to take somebody's job in the big leagues, you know, that type of thing. You know, I want everybody to have success, but I want to do a little bit better. You know, it's that type of thing. So it's good, friendly competition a little bit. And they feed off each other, and they help each other. You know, Arrieta's been a really good, by what I'm hearing, a clubhouse guy and a mentor, so to speak, to some of these young guys, so they can bounce stuff off each other and different things. I mean, some of the biggest attributes, I remember doing is being able to watch every day, sitting on the bench, on the bench and watching big league pitchers pitch every day, the best in the business. You can learn something by watching, you know, and asking questions to certain guys. So it's a good thing, you know, to have somebody like that in the clubhouse.
Arrieta, Nola, of course, too, the other big name that's out there. And Nola, would you say that he's taken a step forward this year, even more so? And are folks around baseball noticing that Nola's kind of a true number one?
Well, I mean, he pitches like that. I mean, he's got good stuff. I mean, not necessarily you got to line up 97, 98 to be a number one. I mean, look at Greg Maddux. He was a number one. You know, and that sort of reminds me of Maddox a little bit. His demeanor, more you know, cool hand Luke is what I think, because he's real cool and calm and collected out there on the mound, which is a good. I mean, that's his thing. Nothing rattles him, and it's a good thing to have because it's a hard thing to do out there when things start going awry. I know that's one thing I had to do. I had to, you know, when things start getting out of shape out there a little bit, I had to back off the mound a little bit, catch your breath, and you never want to let the opposition know what you're feeling. You know, don't show it outwardly. That's what we worked on in the minor leagues a lot about, is controlling your emotions and channeling what you need to do in a positive and aggressive manner towards the catcher and towards the batter. Take it out that way, not everywhere else.
We're talking with Tommy Greene, of course, the Phillies and the Blue Jays, and Nola will be a part of this series as well. We saw Arrieta against the Braves. You got two pitchers like that at the top of the rotation, and the way that Pavetta's going, do you think that this team, Tommy, has the pitching to stay in the race?
Well, I mean, it's going to be a good question. That's going to be a dilemma if they're still in it, depending on how these guys are doing, you know, the 1st of July, you know. What they're going to be looking for, you know, what's available, and it depends on what the price is on some of these things, you know, on some of the people they're looking for. But, you know, and you see how it's happened already this year, starting in spring training, and some of our relievers, even some of the starters. Health is a huge thing, and you never know what's going to happen between here and there. So it might make them have to pull a trigger on something, or even, you know, keep bringing guys up from, you know, what we have in the farm systems, which, as it's proved so far, we got some pretty good arms down there, and some guys you never know what's going to happen. They do have some quality pitching up here that's getting confidence in the big leagues, and they got the stuff to pitch up here. So why can't they do it? It's how did Cole Hamels get his opportunity? He kept pitching in the big leagues.
Yeah. Well, you know what we're seeing. You know what we're seeing, Tommy, is, you know, it's funny, that '93 video. In that video was when they brought up Kevin Stocker, that was really the shifting point for that team. Like, you know, the team was pretty good, but then when you got Stocker, that really changed a lot. This team has a lot of young players that they've given opportunities to, you know, Alfaro behind the plate, Nick Williams and Altair Sharon, Hoskins. There's a lot of younger guys, though, that are kind of key components to this team.
Yeah, and exactly. And each of them at different times are showing what they can do. I mean, it's not necessarily, I mean, they're having roles or something like that, but they're really starting to elevate their games in little ways that you can see the potential of what they can be. They would be in the big leagues if they didn't have that, didn't have the ability to do it. But it's all about getting up here and not getting overwhelmed and putting too much pressure on yourself to and finding a way to be yourself and let your true talents come out. And some people get it quicker than others, and and then the game adjusts to you, and then you got to adjust the game, and then that type thing. It's one of those cat and mouse games, and that's what you see in a couple guys go through. But Alfaro is pretty impressive in what he's doing. He started out a little slow, and he's kind of battled his way up, and now you see what everybody's seeing, behind the plate. He's been a demon, and that can save runs, which keeps us in ball games. And it doesn't take but one swing of the bat or one misplayed defensive error on somebody else's team that gives us a chance to win a ball game. But that's what's going to come down with us is I think the pitching side of it, us staying healthy, keep maturing, and keep going and building that confidence, but also playing getting this defense straightened out, not making the crazy errors and stuff like that when it should be more of a routine type things. So they went through a bad stretch there in the last 10 days, but I don't see them being that bad that often, just giving away runs like that. So
okay, Tommy Greene here on the Sports Bash on the Boardwalk Honda Hotline, joining us as the Phillies, their series with the Toronto Blue Jays, an interleague Memorial Day weekend series. Tommy, enjoy the weekend, and thanks for stopping by the show.
Thank you, Tommy.
You got it, man. Thanks for having me on, guys.